Right. Welcome back, folks, to the second part of our discussion on GCSE computer science topic database. And of interest here, we're seeing the single database. In other words, this database does not talk to idea behind relations. So let's have a look at these 10 problems that we have. The first problem, we're interested in defining a single table database. Now, from the term itself, when we say single table, I mean, it means it's made up of only one table that stores all records and fields. So here we are saying it's a database made up of a single table storing fields and records. Then state two components of a database table. Now, when we talk of components that we find in a table is made up of rows and columns. So I can start with what we call fields. Fields is the same as column. And then we have records. Record is the same as a row. So these are typical items that we would find within a database. Then next, we are interested in identifying a suitable data type for telephone number. Mind you, some telephone number need zip codes, and with zip codes, we now have characters like a plus, or sometimes numbers have to start with a number prefixed with a zero. Because if you try to classify telephone number as a data type number, and you want to put a telephone number which starts with a zero, then those zeros will be ignored. So in order for you to take care of that, it means the data type that would suit any telephone number has to be text. Then moving on, we want to do a definition of a primary key. Say, primary key, we have spoke about it from the introduction to say, this is a key that we use to uniquely identify a record within our database. So it's a unique record identifier within a table. So here we'll be targeting a table to say if we want to identify a record, which value can we use? And that becomes our primary key. Now the next one says give one reason why a name is a poor primary key. Well, two people can share first names which violates uniqueness. Because we said primary key, it needs to be a unique identifier. Now, if it happens that we now have two records having exactly the same reference, then we end up having a conflict. Now, on number 6 there, we are saying we want to identify a suitable primary key for a school table. Well, school table, normally it stores information to do with students. So a nice primary key might be student ID. So we give student unique identifiers. So student ID might be a nice or meaningful primary key for a school database. Suggest a data type for average mark. Well, average mark, because as we do these computations, we are likely to come up with a float or a decimal point. So the suitable data type can be decimal, or sometimes we call it real data type because we are storing information that overlaps or allow for overlaps. Write a query to find students aged 16. Now, if you are aged 16, we are assuming that there is a field where we are storing the age. So we'll now be saying age is equal to 16. Remember, we agreed that age is going to be in numerical form. So when we are querying or looking for data in numerical form, we don't need quotes or brackets around the query itself. Write a query to find books are costing more than $10. So here we are interested in the price of an object. So we can come to say, can we have the field price where we are searching for? We are saying more than 10. So we assume that will be the query. Then moving to number 10, explain why primary keys must be unique. They need to be unique so that we have a single record reference, and also avoiding conflict on data. As you are reading the data, each record should be uniquely identified. So if we don't have a way of uniquely picking a record, then we end up facing a challenge where there'll be data inconsistencies. One person updates, the other one doesn't update. We don't know which record exactly to perform the update on. Hence, we will need to have a unique identifier for all the records that we find within our database. I think that's it for part 2 of our discussion. Let's meet again in the last part where we are tackling a single table database within IGCE computer science. Bye for now.